Senator Heinrich.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Brennan, let me join my colleagues in thanking you for your service to your country and welcoming you to the committee. And should you be confirmed, I'd like to start by just inviting you to visit New Mexico at some point, and in particular Sandia and Los Alamos National Labs, because while they you often don't hear about the contributions that they make to our intelligence community, I can assure you that that support is vital to keeping our nation safe. I've got a few questions, and please forgive me if some of these return to some of the things you've heard from other senators. I want to start with your November 2007 interview with CBS News, where you said, and I quote, there have been a lot of information that has come out of these interrogation procedures that the agency has, in fact, used against the real hardcore terrorists. It has saved lives, unquote. Other intelligence officials went a lot further than that in defending the use of so-called enhanced interrogation techniques at the time, and some still do. If your review of the committee study convinces you that these techniques did not, in fact, save lives, I'd like to ask, will you be as public in condemning the program as you were in its defense? And in other words, will you set the record straight?
I will do whatever possible to make sure that the record is straight and that I speak fully and honestly on it.
I want to return to a question that Mr. Udall asked you. Would you object to, and if so, why, to a public release of the truly declassified version of the committee's report?
Senator, I would give such a request for declassification every due consideration. There is a lot of information, material in those volumes with a lot of potential consequences as far as its public release. And at the same time that we have a commitment to transparency, we also, though, have a tremendous commitment to making sure that we keep this country safe by protecting its secrets. There are a lot of equities as far as liaison partners, other types of things, operational activities, maybe source and methods. So it has to be looked at very, very carefully.
Well, I would just say I agree with you that sources and methods and many of the operational details absolutely should never be declassified. But there are some basic principles, I think, in that report that I think it's going to be very important for history to be able to judge. And I would urge you to look closely at that. Senator Levin asked about waterboarding. Let me follow up a little bit. In November 2007 interview with CBS News, you were asked if waterboarding was torture, and you said, I think it is certainly subjecting an individual to severe pain and suffering, which is the classic definition of torture. And I believe, quite frankly, it's inconsistent with American values, and it's something that should be prohibited. Is that still your view?
Yes, Senator, it is.
Thank you. Do you believe that all agencies of the United States government should be held to the interrogation standards that are laid out in the Army Field Manual as currently required by Executive Order 13491, and do you support efforts to codify those requirements into law?
The Army Field Manual certainly should govern the U.S. military's detention and interrogation of individuals. The FBI has its own processes and procedures and laws that govern its activities. So what I wanted to do is to make sure that appropriate sort of attention is paid to FBI as opposed to the military.
I understand. Back in 2006, you were part of an online discussion with the Washington Post, and you suggested at that time that the director of the CIA should have a set 5-year term, like the FBI director, to guarantee, quote, the absolute need for independence, integrity, and objectivity in the senior ranks of our intelligence community. Given that you will instead serve at the pleasure of the President, how do you maintain your independence?
Having grown up in the intelligence business for 25 years, I truly understand the importance and value of maintaining independence, objectivity, and integrity of the intelligence process. I know when I've sat in the White House Situation Room and when I've looked to the intelligence briefer, that if they were to advocate in any way a policy preference, it really calls into question the independence, objectivity, and basis of that intelligence. I want them to give me the facts as it is, irrespective of what their policy leanings or preferences might be, because policymakers need to do that. So in order for me to maintain my integrity as an intelligence professional, as I would go to the President or the Secretary of State of Defense or into the National Security Council meetings, I would need to make sure I can say it straight, give it straight, and let the policymakers determine exactly the best course of action.
Thank you. One last question. I believe it was during that same online discussion with Washington Post. You said, quote, "I think that there is an effort underway to get the CIA to adapt to the new realities of the intelligence community. The CIA has resisted many of these changes, which has been a problem. It's time to move forward." What exactly did you mean, and has the CIA made progress in that direction?
Well, Senator, credit to you and your staff for pulling up that Washington Post online interview, because I had not read that or thought about that in a while. And I must say that having grown up in the agency for 25 years, and as I said in my testimony, I have tremendous respect for that organization. It is exceptionally capable, competent, but almost by dint of the nature of its work, it also at times is insular. And it has not interacted and interoperated the way it needs to with the rest of the intelligence community, the rest of the U.S. government. At times that is to protect source and methods and to protect the secrets that it has. But given the changes in the environment, given the changes in the nature of our government, CIA needs to play a part in this larger role. And so now the head of the CIA does not sit on top of the intelligence community. It is part of a larger intelligence community that is led by the Director of National Intelligence. So my objective would be to make sure CIA's capabilities are truly going to be leveraged and empower the responsibilities, the missions of the rest of the government. Department of Homeland Security is a new creation. They need intelligence just like others do as well. So what I think I was conveying there is that, there was resistance at the time of the IRTPA, as we well know, that they didn't want to sort of break some of the past practices. Well, I think a lot of that resistance is overcome, and now I think CIA sees the benefits of having somebody who can sit on top of the community and not have to sit on top of the agency as well.
That's very helpful. Thank you very much. I'll yield back, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Senator. Senator King?